Today I am here to explain the theory behind LRC, which is longitudinal redundancy check. So what does longitudinal redundancy check mean? A longitudinal redundancy check LRC is an error detection method for determining the correctness of transmitted and stored data. LRC verifies the accuracy of stored and transmitted data using parity bits. It is a redundancy check applied to a parallel group of bit streams. The data to be transmitted is divided into transmission blocks into which additional check data is inserted. The term is also known as vertical redundancy check. So LRC generally applies to a single parity bit per bit stream. Although simple longitudinal parities only detects errors, a combination with additional error coding control such as transverse redundancy check are capable of correcting errors. LRC fields consist of 1 byte containing an 8-bit binary value. LRC values are calculated by transmitting devices which append LRC to messages. The device at the receiving end recalculates the LRC and receipt of the message and compares the calculated value to the actual value received in the LRC field. If the values are equal, the transmission was successful. If the values are not equal, this indicates an error. LRC is generated through the following steps. Add all bytes and messages excluding the starting column and the ending the carriage return line field. Add this to the 8-bit field and discard the carries. Subtract the final field value from the FF hex, producing 1's complement. Add 1 producing 2's complement. In a system environment where the data stream is accepted from a host during host-initiated operations, LRC calculations are performed and appended to every received data block. The resulting blocks are stored by the subsystems. As data passes through the subsystem, LRC calculations are performed. If the host requires data later, a data block is sought along with the previously calculated LRC. The same LRC exclusive or calculations are performed and compared with stored LRC values as data is transferred to the host. If the stored value matches the newly calculated values, the data is considered to be valid.
So this is basically the screen which we see when we open longitudinal redundancy check in NetSim. So there are two basic modes of operating. One is sample and the other is user. In NetSim basically you can give odd parity or even parity, and the input you have to give through NetSim main interface. So for example, I will simply run this sample code. If I give A, B, C as the inputs, we get the following outputs. In this basically we see that the original data is the ASCII equivalent of these characters and the error is basically randomized. Now what we can see is that whatever data is there, they are actually divided into 8 columns. So we see that 24 bits divided by 8. So there are 3 rows, and each row we see that is corresponding to one character. Now we see that they are basically adding every element in the row and checking if the parity is 1 or 0. Now basically we do this for both the original data bits and the error data bits. And basically we compare the parities generated at both the error and original data, and we just append this parity to the 24 bits. So basically 32 bits are transmitted. Now these 32 bits are compared with the error 32 bits, and we see that apart from the first column there is an error in every other column. So we can conclude that for this case there is an error in transmission. Now basically we have a user code for our particular function. So for this LRC basically we have 3 functions: input, output and the main function FNLRC. So first of all, whenever we give an input here in this, well, be it user or sample, whenever we give an input, we basically get 2 files, input and output, in a temp location. So basically whatever data we give in the main interface, this is converted into this text file, which will give the parity and the original and error data bits. These are basically automatically generated. This is not a part of the code. Now this particular text file is the one which we are going to use in the code. So whenever we call fn lrc input, we see that here. So this input.txt is basically this input text file which is generated when we give the data. Now we see that it automatically stores all the characters in the original variable sg original using file pointers. Now this original data is what we are going to use in the main function fnlrc. Now first of all, in fnlrc what we have to do is we have to segregate this into 8 bits each. So the first part of the code is basically the 24 bits which we have to make it into 888. So the first part of the code is that. The next part of the code is basically to calculate the parity of each row. Now for that, what we need to, for the simplest way of calculating parity here is basically we add all the elements in the row and we divide it by 2. Now when we divide it by 2, we see the remainder. If the remainder is 0, then parity is 0 for odd parity. When the remainder is 1, then it will be 0 for even parity. Now this is a basic case. Now I'll interface this code with the main program. So here we get the output. Of course, it may be possible that this is same as the previous case or not, because this error is obviously randomly generated. Now we see that all the parities are calculated, and apart from the sixth column, we get error in all other columns. Now we see that whenever we run this code, we get an output text file in the temp location. So in this output text file, basically this is the parity of the original data and this is the parity of the error data. And this we can see that the sixth column, there is no error. So basically we see that whatever error is there, it is basically stored and it is displayed here in this. This is done using fnlrc output in this source code. Now I'll basically explain the variables which you are going to use in this code. So first of all, we need to know what length we have given. So if we are giving ABC, we know that the length is 24. So the first thing is, in this ilen arg, we store the length, which is now currently 24. Next is, we need to know the number of rows we have. So for that, we simply have to divide it by 8, and whatever quotient we get, we are going to use it as a number of rows. So 24, when we divide by 8, we will get 3. So 3 is the number of rows which we are going to use. Now RGI data is an 8 cross 8 matrix type, so we can use this to store all the data. So this is basically the table which we are using. This RGI ORG pair is basically the parity of the original data. So whatever parity is calculated, that is stored in this particular array. And similarly, we have an error parity variable, which is RGI error pair. Apart from this, we generally tend to use this ICNT for every for loop count. So at the beginning of every for loop, it is initialized to 0, and depending on the final value, it is incremented, and the number of depending on the number of loops, we can calculate the parity, or we can update the data in the tables. This is the variable itot_row, which is basically the number of rows. iCall data is used for pointing which column the particular data belongs to. Now this is the first part of the code. As I said earlier, this ilen arg is used to store the length. So when we give ABC, the length stored is currently 24. Now we initialize this itot_row to -1. So first of all, this for loop is basically to segregate it into various rows. So first we divide it by 8 and see if the remainder is 0. So once I count goes from 7 to 8, you see that it will branch to the next row. So the first 7 elements are stored in this, and then it goes to the next row. So this is the first part of the code. Now we know that the next part of the code is basically to calculate the parities. So first of all, we have this iCall. So as I said earlier, this is the variable which points to the particular column number. So let us go through this. So first, when I call is 0, we see what all variables are there in that particular row. So for suppose the first 3 elements in a particular column are 0, 0, 0. So basically everything is added. So final value is obviously 0. When you divide it by 2, you will directly get the parity. Now in NetSim, by default, in the text file which is generated, this number 1 will correspond to odd parity and number 2 will correspond to even parity. This is basically the default setting in NetSim. Now for odd parity, if we first check the condition whether the parity is 0. So when there are 3 zeros, obviously parity is 0. So for odd parity, if the number of ones are even, then only the parity is 0, otherwise it is 1. So for the first case, for 3 zeros, obviously the parity will be 1. Now for even parity, it is exactly the opposite. So if there are even number of ones, we know that the parity will be 0, otherwise it will be 1. So if one case there is 1 0 0, in that case the parity will be 1. The next part of this is for the original data. The next part of this is obviously to calculate the error data. So error data is obviously randomly generated in this input text file. Now the error data, the size of the error data is obviously the same as the original data. So if we are transmitting 24 bits, we must receive 24 bits. So for these 24 bits, we follow the same algorithm which we followed for the original. So again we are segregating it into some 3 rows, because 24 by 8 is 3. Again we are using the same column pointer, and we are calculating the parity and segregating it using this. So this is for calculating the parities for both the original and the error data. Finally we come to the output. Now by default, NetSim will generate this output text file which is stored in the temp directory, which will give this value, this is for the original, and this value which is for the error. So just for another example, I will use even parity now. So for the same input which I give, the output which I will get is basically the complement of what I got last time. And you can see that both this input and output will be updated later. Hence finally I conclude this assignment. So basically what we learned in this video is that how LRC basically functions, the theory of LRC. So whatever data we give, basically we divide it by 8, segregate into number of rows, calculate the parity of each column, and whatever we get in the end, this parity is basically appended to the original 24 data bits. So we will be transmitting 32 data bits. Every extra bit we transmit for one additional ASCII value actually. Then the same value we compare it with the error bits. So this is LRC is basically an error detection. It is not error correction. So from this we can only conclude that the transmission error has occurred. We cannot correct this error. So that's all for this assignment. Thank you. I am Iyer Vishnuvardhan, and initially Andy Harsha was the one who explained the theory, and I explained this code and simulation. Thank you.